Hi, it's Tech Trailblazer. Today in this video we are going to see keyloggers, types of keystroke loggers, application keyloggers, DOS and many other. Going forward with keyloggers. Keystroke logging, keylogging and keyboard capturing is a process of monitoring or recording the actions performed by any user, such as monitoring a user using keyboard using keyloggers. Keyloggers can be either hardware or software. The major purpose of using keyloggers are monitoring data copied to the clipboard, screenshots captured by the user. Screen logging by capturing a screenshot at every moment, even when the user just clicked. Types of keystroke loggers. Software keyloggers. Software-based keyloggers performs its function by logging the actions in order to steal information from the target machine. Software-based keyloggers are remotely installed, or an attacker may send it to user, and user can accidentally execute the application. Software keyloggers includes application keyloggers, kernel keyloggers, hypervisor-based keyloggers, phone-grabbing-based keyloggers, hardware keyloggers. Hardware-based keyloggers are physical hardwares or keyloggers which are installed on hardware by physically accessing the device. Firmware-based keyloggers requires physical access to the machine to load the software into BIOS. Keyboard hardware such as keygrabber USB is a physical device, needs to be installed in line with the keyboard. Hardware keyloggers are further classified into following types includes PC/BIOS embedded keyloggers, keyloggers keyboard, external keyloggers, anti-keyloggers. Anti-keyloggers are application software which ensures protection against keylogging. This software eliminates the threat of keylogging by providing SSL protection, keylogging protection, clipboard logging protection, and screen logging protection. Some of the anti-keylogger software are listed. Zeminar Anti-Keylogger, https://www.zeminar.com. SpyShelter Anti-Keylogger software, https://www.spyshelter.com. Anti-Keylogger, http://anti-keyloggers.com. Denial of service, DOS. Denial of service, DOS, is a type of attack in which service offered by a system or a network is denied. Services may either be denied, reduce the functionality, or prevent the access to the resources even to the legitimate users. There are several techniques to perform DOS attacks, such as generating a large number of requests to the target system for service. These large number of incoming requests overload the system capacity to entertain, resulting denial of service. Common symptoms of DOS attack are slow performance, increase in spam emails, unavailability of a resource, loss of access to a website, disconnection of a wireless or wired internet connection, denial of access to any internet services. Distributed denial of service, DOS. Similar to the denial of service in which an attacker is attempting to a DOS attack, in distributed DOS attack, multiple compromised systems are involved to attack a target, causing a denial of service. Botnets are used for DOS attack. How distributed denial of service attacks work. Normally, an establishment of a connection consists of some step in which a user sends a request to a server to authenticate it. The server returns with the authentication approval. Requesting user acknowledges this approval, and then the connection is established and is allowed onto the server. In the process of denial of service attack, the attacker sends several authentication requests to the server. These requests have fake return addresses, so the server can't find a user to send the authentication approval. This authentication process waits for a certain time to close the session. The server typically waits more than a minute before closing the session. The attacker is continuously sending requests, causing a number of open connections on the server, resulting in the denial of service. Basic categories of DOS/DOS attacks. Volumetric attacks. Denial of service attack performed by sending a high amount of traffic towards the target. Volumetric attacks are focused on overloading the bandwidth consumption capability. These volumetric attacks are attempted with the intention to slow down the performance degradation of services. Typically, these attacks are consuming bandwidth in hundreds of Gbps of bandwidth. Fragmentation attacks. DOS fragmentation attacks are the attacks which fragment the IP datagram into multiple smaller size packets. This fragmented packet requires reassembly at the destination, which requires resources of routers. Fragmentation attacks are of the following two types. 1. UDP and ICMP fragmentation attacks. 2. TCP fragmentation attacks. TCP state exhaustion attacks. TCP state exhaustion attacks are focused on web servers, firewalls, load balancers, and other infrastructure components to disrupt connections by consuming the connection state tables. TCP state exhaustion attacks results in exhausting their finite number of concurrent connections the target device can support. The most common state exhaustion attack is ping of death. Application layer attacks. An application layer DOS attack is also called Layer 7 DOS attack. Application level DOS attack is a form of DOS attack which focused the application layer of the OSI model, resulting in the denial of degradation of service. The application level attack overloads the service or features of a website or application with the intention of denial or unavailability. DOS/DOS attack techniques. Bandwidth attacks. Bandwidth attack requires multiple sources to generate a request to overload the target. DOS attack using a single machine is not capable of generating enough requests which can overwhelm the service. The distributed DOS attack is a very effective technique to flood requests towards a target using the distributed attack. As we know, zombies are the compromised system which is controlled by the master computer, attacker, or controlling zombies through handler provides support to initiate a DOS attack. Botnets, defined later in this chapter, are also used to perform DOS attacks by flooding ICMP echo packet in a network. The goal of bandwidth attack is to consume the bandwidth completely. No bandwidth is left even for legitimate use. By comparing the above figures, you will understand how distributed denial of service attack works, and by consuming the entire bandwidth legitimate traffic is denied. Service request floods. Service request flood is a DOS attack in which attacker flood the request towards a service such as web application or web server until all the service is overloaded. When a legitimate user attempts to initiate a connection, it will be denied because of repeated TCP connection by the attacker consumed all resources to the point of exhaustion. SYN attack/flooding. SYN attack or SYN flooding exploits the three-way handshaking. The attacker, by sending a lot of SYN requests to a target server with the intention of tying up a system. This SYN request has a fake source IP address which could not find the victim. Victim waits for the acknowledgement from the IP address, but there will be no response as the source address of incoming SYN request was fake. This waiting period ties up a connection, listen to queue, to the system because the system will not receive an ACK. An incomplete connection can be tied up for 75 seconds.